Now, I'm going to try and take a little bit of a different approach, as I heard people talking about in the park.
What is the topic, sorry?
The divinity of Jesus. Now, there's a usual dialogue between Muslims and Christians, and all I'll try to do is have a little bit of a difference so that it doesn't become boring. You know, when you have the same conversation, it becomes boring. So I'll try and entertain it a little bit. All right. So I'm told by Christians that Jesus is God, or God incarnate, or something along those lines. All right. Now, I ask, usually when you ask for evidence, obviously your evidence is from the Bible. All right. So you start to quote me. So you start to quote me verses, right? So this is my question. So now, when I ask for is Jesus God, the first thing, one of the first things I'm told is, He said, I and my Father are one. As such, that proves or that shows that He is God. The other evidence is He said, He who have seen me, have seen the Father. That's also another evidence to suggest that He is God. Now, what usually people argue about is to say, oh no, that's not what the verse means, or that's not what it says. I am actually taking a different approach and say, let's take it face value. Let's say it means that He's saying God. Okay. Let's just say, right, for argument's sake. Not to get it boring and say, no, this is not what it means. Sorry. So He said, I am my Father are one. Let's say that's assuming to say He's God. The other verse says, He who have seen me have seen the Father. Let's say for argument's sake, that also means on the face value what it's saying. There is another verse that says, He says, before Abraham was, I am, referring to Himself in the book of Exodus, in the burning bush, when God is speaking to Moses. All right.
Wrong reference.
So you've got all the verses where Jesus is saying He's God. That's good. You've got them.
No, there's more.
There's more. But He's got them. Yeah.
So He said, I am my Father are one. He said, you have seen me, have seen the Father, one of the strongest ones. Before Abraham was, I am. John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
In John 1:14.
John 1:14, where He says, all right. Now these are how many verses did I quote? 6 or 7 verses.
6,
All right. Now here comes my question: if we eliminate those 6 or 7 verses out of the Bible, would Jesus? One moment. Just those ones. These ones that I quoted. If we eliminate them out of the Bible, would Jesus be God?
Yes. And still many more.
All right.
Many more.
Now here's the question.
And including the Old Testament as well.
No problem. This is the New Testament.
But
I didn't go to the Old Testament. I'm just talking about the New Testament. Now these are the verses. Now these are by far, you're going to have to agree with me, all 4 of you. These are the strongest candidates.
No.
One moment. Let me tell you.
I disagree with you.
No problem.
But anyway.
No problem. You can disagree.
And you made a wrong reference as well. But anyway.
I'm sure you can forgive me for that.
You haven't asked forgiveness. But
what I'm saying is, He said, I am. He said for when you're talking about the Exodus one.
Yeah, that was wrong reference, and your interpretation of the Jesus God incarnate was wrong. Anyway, I'm just recording, so just don't butcher my scripture that much, okay?
What I'm saying is, He didn't say before Abraham was, I am. Isn't that a reference?
That's not from the reference of Exodus, sir.
Where is that from?
That's from Deuteronomy and Isaiah. That's not from the Exodus.
Okay, but Moses, He was talking to Moses when God said, I am.
But that's not the quotation of that's not the quotation of.
No problem. I apologize for the misquotation, but Moses was talking to God, and Jesus is referring to Himself here, according to Christians, by using the same standard that God used for Himself, the same name that God used for Himself. Is that wrong, ma'am? Sorry.
In Deuteronomy and in Isaiah, yes.
So where did I get wrong?
You just used the wrong verse.
It's just the wrong verse. Oh, sorry. It's just the wrong verse. But my idea is not wrong. That He's using the same. What I was saying was the same idea that God used the name. The same name.
Same attribute.
As such, that makes Him God. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I didn't get it wrong.
And there are many of these.
But you're right.
No problem. But what I'm saying is, I and my Father are one. Before Abraham was, I am. You have seen me, have seen the Father. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Are these not the strongest contestants in the Bible? All right. No problem. Now give me another strong verses without these verses.
I am the Alpha and the Omega.
Where's that? What verse is it?
That's in Revelation.
That's 1.
Revelation 1.
All right.
We got Hebrews 1.
What's that?
I, Jesus, testify.
No, I'm the Alpha and the Omega. That's the one you're referring to. I'm the Alpha and the Omega.
So
where's that? One moment. Where's that?
Revelation 1.
There's another one in Matthew.
let me respond. Can I respond as well? Can I respond as
And
well?
Revelation 19 as well.
First of all, Christians believe Jesus is Yahweh, Jesus is God. It's not because a couple of verses you give a quotation, or it's not a couple of verses we edit what you said. Christian scripture teaches Jesus is God throughout all scripture. Jesus is God Himself, because Jesus makes a claim that He wants us to honor Him exactly the way we would honor God Himself. Jesus has the attributes of God. All the attributes God have, Jesus has them. Jesus
assigned to
has
him.
the names of God.
I don't have
Jesus can do the deeds only God alone can do.
No, but you see,
And
this
Jesus
is
comes
what I
from the
said.
seat of God,
I don't have
and
a
He
problem.
is seated on the throne of God.
So
Therefore, Jesus is God.
So there is
It's
a
not
lot,
because
there
there
is
is
a
one
much
verse
bigger,
it stands.
stronger, compounded list of...
I didn't, that's not, you see, this is what I said, I was trying to get a different
Yeah,
approach.
yeah.
I said, I don't, let's just say he is.
He knows where they are.
I said, for argument's sake, this is where they are. Now, what I'm saying is, I quoted you about 7 verses. I said, my argument is, without those 7 verses, you cannot find as a strong argument for the case of Jesus in the entire Bible.
But we can.
Okay,
Good. Now give me one.
Let's go to
I'm the Alpha and the Omega.
That's it. No, that's not how we are gonna do it, guys.
No, you can't.
Okay, so can we just go to the John Gospel, where Jesus says, I am the one who gives eternal life.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh, John 5. All right, good.
John 10?
I was
John
actually
8?
going to read when Jesus comes back, but
Which verse?
It's not about the verse, so we need to read the verse and then explain that verse to you.
No.
It makes sense.
No, but don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Look, first of all, look, I'm not saying, look, one thing, there's something I was trying to get at. Now, before we go there, I think you're misunderstanding, so I'm going to move on. This is what I'm saying. These verses that the strongest verses that you have.
No, that's not
We're saying no.
Let me finish. I'm saying the strongest verses that you have of the divinity of Jesus.
Not the ones you mentioned.
Let me finish the ones I mentioned, and maybe some more that you can actually the ones you were just quoting. 17, John 17, 5:17. And those
John,
actually thank
John
you for
10,
making.
John 10 as well, John
John
8
10
as well, where Jesus says, I'll give eternal life.
Yeah, start with
it's
5.
okay. John, is it in
There's
John?
somebody. Start with 5.
It's 5:18.
But it's not
This is a
one
very simple
verse.
verse.
Brother,
Just for
maybe,
you to...
brother, it might be helpful if you read the context as well.
Yeah. So read from 5
No,
about
but
10.
understand one thing. I'm saying let's just take for argument's sake that he's God.
In red.
In this context, you're not understanding my point.
There we are, because you're saying that by stripping those verses out, we can't prove he's God.
Let me tell you
But we're
something.
saying we can.
Thank you, because you're actually proving my point. The verses that he's reading, I'm telling you.
There are more verses.
Let me see this.
No problem. But let me tell you one thing.
Shine a light.
Are you
You've got a light.
listening, man? We only got 10 minutes. Are you listening?
Yeah,
The
quick,
lady's
quick.
tired. She'll be standing here for the whole night.
Do you need a light?
Yeah, I need a light. Yeah, in order to read.
I'll read. Is it in John?
Yeah, it's all over the place. But we're gonna start with
One
John.
thing. Okay. Let me make this easier. Let me make this easier. Let me make this
Ray,
easier.
can you hold the camera?
Let me make this easier.
Sorry, I just need to take the...
Sir, let me.
It's not that complicated.
No.
What you're asking.
I'm gonna make it more easier for
Yeah.
you. I'm gonna make it
No,
more
it's
easier
fine
for
as
you.
you are.
No problem. I am saying
Yeah.
this is. You're reading.
No, I'm hearing you. I can do 2 things at once. You know, I'm reading, but I'm hearing you. Yeah.
He's a
You're a
man. What do you
You're a man.
expect?
You can't do that.
Yeah, I can do 2
No,
things at
men,
once.
that.
some men can
No,
multitask.
I'm better than Allah.
You're a man.
Allah can only do 1 thing at a time, but I can do 2.
She can multitask. You can't.
Oh yeah. Okay, watch. Go on, carry on.
All right, read the verse. No problem.
Right, you want me to read?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
right. Where do you want me to read from? Okay, we'll read from here.
Whatever. Read the entire John if you want to.
You want me to read the entire thing? Okay, fine.
Which John? 5.
Yeah, I'll read 5. I'll read from here. Okay. Verily, verily, I'll read from there.
Verily,
Then
verily, I say
Jesus
to you.
answered and said unto them, 19. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son of Man can do nothing of himself but what you see the Father do. You want me to go right through?
No problem.
For whatsoever things he do is these.
He wants the references where we identify.
St. John 5,
No problem.
19.
So we have John 5:19.
Yeah.
I and my Father are one. John
Yeah.
10.
Yeah. St. John 8,
John number
58.
1. John 58.
Yeah.
What other Johns do you have?
St. 14.
John 14.
Go to Mark Gospel,
John
go to
1:14.
Matthew Gospel,
Yeah,
go to
there's
Luke
so
Gospel.
many.
Okay, let me.
You want to
okay.
note these? You should be taking them down.
I have them on. I'm just. This is
So you already know them?
Now let me make the point. I already know them. Yeah.
Right, so
I
you
know
already
from
know
cover
it,
to
right.
cover, most.
So you have no excuse.
Let me tell you.
You don't know
on Judgment
Quran.
Day, you should not laugh at that.
You will be accountable for
Yeah.
this.
You should be careful
Yeah,
because on
yeah,
Judgment Day,
you
the Lord...
already
Trust
know
me,
it,
I already
yeah.
have my salvation.
So you
Trust
have
me,
no
I have
excuse.
I have my salvation.
No, I just want to make sure.
Muhammad
that-
didn't have his
If you have your
salvation, bro.
salvation,
Anyway, I'm not...
you'll be a
No.
Christian. You'll
Okay.
declare Jesus
That's
as
fine.
your
We're
Lord.
professionals. Let's
Yeah.
not preach to one another.
Yeah, sure.
Let's just critically analyze.
No, I'm not
our
preaching. I'm
evidence.
just saying you have no excuse.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now what I'm saying is all these evidences.
Yeah.
This is the point that I was trying
Yeah.
to make. The most strongest evidence
Yeah.
to suggest the divinity of Jesus is only to be found in one book.
Which one?
No,
John.
No,
Let me-
all of the
let me
Gospels.
finish.
No.
Let me finish.
Are you asking or telling?
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. Then you can come at me. Let me finish. I am telling you the most strongest evidence for the divinity of Jesus. All the verses that I quoted, and thanks for making the case for me, giving me more verses. All the strongest verses.
No,
I'm
that's not true.
But let me finish, and then you
Sake
come
of
at
the
me.
argument, just a moment.
Let me
Just a
finish.
moment. Sir, it's been 9 minutes, and
Yeah.
Christians haven't spoken yet.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to give you 10 minutes to talk. Let me finish, and then I'll give you 10
let
minutes
him
to talk.
finish.
I'll let you talk.
Yeah, okay.
This
You
is
are
what I'm
very
saying.
generous.
No, seriously, I'll let you talk for 10 minutes. Like I said, let's have a different subject.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. No,
This is what I'm telling you. Let me make my case and then you defend it.
No, okay.
This is my case. The most strongest arguments that you have is in the book of John.
Islam doesn't have any problem.
You don't have nowhere in the entire rest of 26 books the strongest contenders as you have in the book of John. You may find in Mark, Luke, and Matthew, and you may find in the letters of Paul, but you will not find verses explicit. Let's just say, like I said, for argument's sake, let's say we accept the divinity of Jesus tonight, for argument's sake, all right? The only place where you will find explicit, clear cut, if someone was to believe in Jesus, is in the book of John. You will not find it in the book of Matthew, you will not find it in the book of Mark. Let me finish. You'll not find it in the book of Matthew, you'll not find it in the book of Luke, and you'll not find it in the book of Mark. I'm making my case so that you can have a good time to respond. Now, what is the problem with that?
Okay, what's your point? Okay, no, let's ask him what's your point in making that statement.
Good, because that's what I'm going to give you more time to discuss. Okay, now one might ask, what's the problem with that? This is still in the Bible. If it's still in the Bible, what's wrong with it? If it's in John, if it's in Matthew.
And Muhammad didn't have a problem with that.
Let me finish, man. Muhammad is a different subject. I will talk to you about Muhammad.
Quran didn't have a problem with that. Just beware of that.
So that the conversation stays in a very beautiful manner. Let's just stick with our subject. Now I'm saying the divinity in Jesus is in clear cut. If someone was to believe in Jesus, only in the book of John. Now the problem, no problem. You can come to it. I'm making a point, and you can come to it. Now, what's the problem with that? If it's still in the Bible, the problem with that is John, as Christians, you know, is the last writer of the four Gospels. He writes 65 years after the death, alleged crucifixion of Jesus.
That's not true. No, that's not true.
But you can come back to me. Be patient. Now, forget about the year. He's the last writer of the four Gospels. You will not reject that. Nobody will reject that. All right. So if you don't have in Mark, the first writer of the four Gospels, as explicit and as more times divine in the first writer of Mark, and you don't have as explicit and as a strong case for the divinity of Jesus in the middle to Matthew and Luke. Matthew, by the way, the supposed disciple of Jesus. You only have the biggest verses that we just quoted, and the most strongest case for the divinity of Jesus in John. Now, what's my problem with that? Let me end with this, and you can come back and reply. Now, what's my problem with this? My problem with this is an evolution that took time when the Gospels were reaching the Gospel of John. Meaning, this is John putting these things in the lips of Jesus. We don't have that in Matthew, the first writer of the Gospels. We don't have that in Luke. Let me finish. We don't have that in Luke as much as we do. We have in Mark, let's say, the coming of the kingdom of God. Many times Jesus referring to himself, very little. You come to John, the last writer of the four Gospels, it's more about himself and the divinity of Jesus, and very less about the kingdom of God. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem is that it becomes historically inaccurate when one guy depicts Jesus to be God, and the rest, which is, by the way, known as the synoptics, do not.
Right, okay.
That's very old argument.
Hudson, let me just say one thing quick. Before you start, first of all, we don't agree that when you look at the Bible, it's all concentrated in John. There's many scriptures outside of John. That's the first point. The second point is Muhammad had no issues, for which he confirmed himself with the book of John. So you should be supporting the book of John.
Yeah.
You shouldn't give an impression that there is an issue with the book of John.
Michael,
you should say, well, actually, the book of John is something Muhammad supports.
I don't agree with that, but it's your time.
Okay, we can give you references to that. Okay, but
I'm confirming the Gospel according to John.
Yeah. So Muhammad is okay with the Gospel of John, so that's one thing. And secondly, as I said, there's far more scripture, in fact, in the whole Bible.
You know what I want to do with you? Can we meet next week and sit down and take this further?
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I want to do that with you. Is that okay? I want to sit down with you. Yeah.
Or go to Revelation 5 as well.
Revelation.
Or
we can go through
Peter 3 as well, where Jesus is worshipped.
Yeah, of course.
And
The prayer of Jesus, where Jesus
I really want to sit down with this guy.
and he's saying the glory I had with you.
Yeah, I know. No, there's so much.
That's what's
There is so much. There's Mark when he talks about the forgiveness of sins. No, there is so much. There is just so much. I want to sit down with this guy.
From heaven, in a prophecy, saying
I didn't say it is not in there. What I'm saying is,
I'm saying that it's much more
Let
stronger
them
than the
make
book
their
of John.
point. It's already been like 14 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm holding my arm.
First of all, can I respond? I actually want to. Can I respond to what you said firstly? I want to respond to him.
Okay.
I want to respond firstly by saying that's not a new argument that you came up with, by the way. That's not a new argument at all. That's in every Muslim scholar's book, that is. The idea that it's really a non-argument. That because John, because what you're really saying is John said something different or went further than the other gospel did, so that means he made it up. It's actually a weak argument when you think about it. You're almost saying that they all need to say the exact same thing. You're almost saying that exactly the way John worded stuff is exactly the way Matthew, Mark and Luke need to word it as well, otherwise something's gone wrong. That's a very terrible, that's a weak argument. You're almost saying they have to say the same thing in the exact same way, in the same amount of content in order to make it legitimate. If Mark writes a longer article than John, then one of them's lying, because they're not the same lengths, they're not using the same amount of words, they're not using the same wording. This is a terrible argument.
It shows they're not lying.
You got to,
because when you lie, you make sure you say, let's get together and let's make sure it's the same.
You be fair with me as well.
Right.
So let me carry on. Let me carry on. But I'll give you, because I really want to sit in a command
You've got
code.
5 minutes to finish the conversation.
Right. So in Mark, Jesus clearly said that he has the power to forgive sins. I'll show you the scriptures another time. My hands are really cold. In Matthew, Jesus said he had the power to forgive sins. That's quite clear. And look at the reaction. They understood from that only God can do this. Who does this guy think he is? So what I'm saying is in Matthew, Jesus is saying, I can forgive sins. The Son of Man has power on earth to forgive sins. He says that in Matthew. He says it in Mark. He says it in Luke. And he says it in John. It's in all of them. So what I'm saying, where Jesus is making it clear that he has the authority and attributes of God in all of the Gospels.
Jesus calls himself I am.
What you're strictly saying is that because the Gospel of John is about all the saints of Jesus. It basically expands what Jesus said. Because it expands what Jesus said more than Mark, doesn't mean somebody's lying. It just means they're writing from different perspectives. John took more time to write the words of Jesus more clearly or more content or more depth than the others, means that the rest is lying. That's a terrible argument. That's what you're saying.
What about the time?
But what I'm saying is the key points are in all of them, that Jesus has the power to forgive sins. Is in all 4 Gospels. In Matthew 24, Jesus is referring to Daniel 9:24 when he said, you will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven. That's directly from Daniel. He's saying he's God. That's God in the clouds. God on the throne, coming in the clouds, the Ancient of Days. And Jesus refers to that, saying that's me. In Luke 14, when he went into the synagogue, he picks up the scriptures and he talks about the one that's going to come and deliver the captives, set the captives free, the lepers, heal blind eyes. He said, this day the scriptures be fulfilled in your ears. Isaiah 61 verse 2, Jesus said, that's me. And he put the book down and they all looked at him. It means I'm saying in all of the Gospels, Jesus is clearly using, and this is how you do it. This is how in the Hebrew culture, when you understand it, you say you're God. You don't walk around and say I'm God. That's foolish. How you show you're God is by taking the attributes of God and applying them to yourself. It's like me saying, I'll give you a silly example. Yakub can do martial arts. I can kick exactly like Yakub. All the skills he's got, all the techniques he's got, I can do them. I can portray them. I can demonstrate exactly what Yakub can. I'm saying I'm just as good as he is. What he does, I can do exactly. The way he moves his foot, I can do exactly like that. That's what Jesus is saying. Nothing more, nothing less. Not less than him, exactly like him. I can imitate him exactly. That's what Jesus is saying.
And that's a much stronger case than just saying I am.
That's a stronger case. And what I'm saying is, though, and I'll finish here.
To Revelations.
Which bit?
The book of Revelations. It has many things from Jesus talking about the church. Jesus is on the throne in heaven. Coming down to judge.
What verse did you mention?
So
only God can say
one of the helpful things is also remember, heaven is the place where God is present and everyone expects to worship God. In Peter and in Revelation, everyone, including angels, are worshipping Lord Jesus Christ. Why?
What chapter are you thinking of?
Look, this is all the words of Jesus.
Peter 3 and Revelation 4 and 5.
This is the words of God talking
First
from
Peter.
heaven. Inside Revelations, it's just as
Second
much.
Peter.
There's Revelations 1, chapter 1, when he cooks. I can speak.
Can I
I'm
speak
the
for
Alpha and the
Yeah, carry on. Yeah, go on.
Can I say something?
But do you get what I'm saying, though?
No, I
you
don't
want to respond to that?
I was just trying to be fair to.
I'm saying that they're not less. One is not making something up that the other one didn't.
That's why I'm quiet.
So
I'm asking for permission to talk.
Okay, you've got only 1 more minute to finish. Camera is going to be turned off.
Oh, sorry.
So
all right. Let's have 2 minutes.
But I would like you to, if you want to acknowledge what I said or respond.
I will respond.
Because John is saying something that the others are not saying doesn't make it a lie.
I will respond. I will leave the acknowledgement aside. I will respond.
Okay.
This is what I'll tell you. This is the thing. There is no way, and I still remain my ground to the point that I was making earlier, that you will not have the tantamount. You will not have the endless verses that you're quoting. If you ever ask any Christian,
but does that make it illegitimate? That's my question. You've got to answer. Does that make it illegitimate?
I'll tell you why it makes it illegitimate.
Right. So it does make it illegitimate. Okay. Right.
That's the whole point.
You didn't say that before. Say why.
It does make it illegitimate.
So because John said more stuff than Luke one line.
Let me finish.
That's the argument.
Let me finish. This is why it makes it. This is what I was saying. The point that I was making was there's no Christian on the planet Earth who reads Bible that you ask him the divinity of Jesus that will not go endlessly quoting the gospel.
We just did.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I'll tell you what. I've been standing.
I don't know what Christians you.
Let me finish. I've been standing here. I've been listening. I heard one revelation. One moment, no problem. I heard one revelation. I heard I forgive sins. Like I said, I don't want to go into the wordings, even though the wording is said your sins are forgiven.
If you don't go into the wordings, how do you understand the context?
No. The reason is
Okay, so just
point that I'm trying to make.
Finish your point and then it's done.
Yeah, finish your point. Yeah.
It's not the wordings I'm saying. I said, for argument's sake, let's say he's God. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Like I said,
just focus and finish your point. It's already over 20 minutes.
There you go.
But
That's the answer.
No, but let's understand what I say.
No, it's already over 20 minutes. Just
you
like
said you know Jesus.
You got to wrap up.
Let me say one thing.
You got to wrap up.
Let me say this is what I'm telling you. Look, I said I can go to endlessly like anybody else and critically analyze, is this what really Jesus said? But I said just for argument's sake, let's look at it from a different approach. And let's say for argument's sake that he is God. All right. I say if we're saying he is God, then we have to analyze it. And then when we do the analyzation of it, we only find the divinity of Jesus in one book. No. We don't find
I just disproved that, my friend. I just disproved it. You're not listening at all, are you?
Let me finish. I said you will find words, you will find statements, you will find verses here and there. Let me finish. But you will not find as strong evidence as for John, i.e. that makes John historically inaccurate.
I'm disagreeing with you.
Okay,
no, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
That was your conclusion. That's your conclusion.
No.
Brother, can you make your conclusion?
Yeah, can I make my conclusion?
Okay, thank you.
Can I make my conclusion? Right, I'm going to be short.
Please make sure he says that it's his opinion.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
No, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why my opinion.
No, it's your opinion.
No, let me tell you why.
No, it's your opinion. Can we sit down next week and do this properly?
Let me tell you why my opinion.
I want you to agree with me to sit down next week and do this properly.
We can talk.
Can we?
I'm telling you is, can I hold this for a moment, please?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, sorry, the Bible. I'm telling you, the reason why my opinion, no problem. I'll tell you why my opinion is validated in here. Let me tell you why.
That is not my historical mistake.
You told me, but tell me again.
Let me tell you again why.
You said it already.
You see, if this man by the name, no problem. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If this man by the name of Jesus, 2,000 years ago, was walking around in Galilee, in Roman Palestine, and let's say this guy is claiming to be God.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
He's claiming to be God. Now, we have in the book of Matthew the Sermons of the Mount, right?
Okay,
That's what's called the Sermons of the Mount, the 5 Sermons of the Mount.
Right,
They're very famous. It's in the book of Matthew. All right. So let's say this guy, first of all, we don't know where Jesus said, when he said, I and my Father are one. Was he sleeping? Was he eating? Was he talking? We don't know where he said it. We don't know. Let me finish.
You don't know, you mean. You don't know.
It's there, the narrative.
No, but where did he say it?
You haven't read it.
No, but what did he say?
You haven't read it.
You tell me.
What did he say?
You tell me what he said.
Guys, just a moment. It is me who is holding the arm for a long time. Okay?
Yeah.
So you finished your conclusion statement. You've done
1 minute
already.
and I'm done. 1 minute I'm finished.
No, you've done already.
No, 1 minute, let me finish.
Sir, you already spoke extra, and it's already 20
Okay, I want to make my conclusion on what you said.
I'm saying why, John. I haven't given you the reason why. You don't know why.
You told me, but tell me again.
Why you say it?
You said already that you can't find the abundance of and the exact wordings of how John said it. No, that is what you said.
That's what you're putting in my mouth.
No, that is what you said.
I didn't say that.
It's on camera.
Okay.
You said the reason why. Okay, right.
didn't say that.
I want to give my
conclusion.
I want to give my conclusion on what you said now.
But now you're putting your perspective in the camera.
I want to pick up on your argument. First of all, I want to say the argument that you brought is not. The argument you brought is not a new one. The argument you brought is not a new one. What you're saying in essence is because John worded things different from Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and because he gave more content and more words and he expressed Jesus more than they did. And let me finish.
But you're putting words in my mouth.
It's on camera. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. Okay? Let's stop playing these baby games. Okay. We'll watch the camera. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. Okay. I'll apologize to you personally next week if I'm wrong. Right. What personally, remind me. Right. What I'm saying is, right, what you're saying, your argument is this in a nutshell. I'm not using your exact words. I'm using your argument. Your argument is that John has more content
John, the book.
But you're putting words into my mouth.
Okay, well, I'll apologize next week.
So just do your conclusion.
Okay, right. Your argument is that John has more content than Matthew and Mark. He's given more material, more text, more words in the mouth of Jesus than the others are, that he's the last one to do so, so therefore there was an evolution. That's exactly what you said. Come on, my friend, be honest. You said, therefore, because John is the last writer, he's come and he's put more content and more material and more text and more words. These are not your words, but that's what you're saying. To what the others have previous... My friend, you know that's what you're saying. That's why you're getting rattled. You know that's what you're saying. That's why you're getting rattled. Right. So that's what you're saying. And I'm saying that's a weak argument and it's an old argument. The idea that John is last and that Matthew and Mark, relatively compared to John, said very little, and then along comes John, tops it up a bit, tops more than what they said, and because he's the last one, that makes it illegitimate. That's a weak argument. I'm saying again, and I'm making it very clear. In Matthew, the divinity and the deity of God is there. Jesus has the power to forgive sins. He takes all the attributes of God from the Old Testament, he refers them to himself in Matthew, in Mark, and in Luke.
And John,
I will agree with you if you're saying that there's more content. Of course there is more. Of course there is more word into Jesus. Nobody's arguing that. Of course John does a lot more of it. But he's not making anything up.
And we'll bring that next week.
Yeah,
okay?
he's just done a lot more. So this is my argument. Your argument is weak. All of the Gospels are expressing fully and clearly the deity of Jesus. And yes, John is doing it more. John is giving more material and more text. But that's all he's done. But all of them are clear. In Matthew, Jesus referred to the previous scriptures. He takes the deity of God, referring to himself. In Mark, he takes the deity of God, referring to himself. In Luke, he takes the deity of God and referring to himself.
Okay, so we'll close on that, and we'll say we'll meet up next week. We'll bring this out
without a camera.
Without a camera, whatever.
Yeah, we'll sit down.
It's more calm when there's no camera.
Can we sit down and do this properly? And we look at scripture.
We'll unpack this.